Life inevitably brings us face to face with individuals we can describe as toxic, be they colleagues, friends, or even family. These individuals, with their negative energy and destructive behaviors, can drain our spirits and negatively affect our mental and physical well-being. Have you ever left a conversation feeling exhausted, your energy sapped by someone's unreasonable criticism or constant negativity? The philosophy of Stoicism offers profound principles of tranquility, resilience, and self-control. These teachings provide us with valuable tools, not only to face these challenges, but to navigate them with wisdom and grace. In today's video, we will explore 13 smart and effective strategies for dealing with toxic people. These methods will empower you to protect your peace and maintain positivity in your life. Let's embark on this journey together, so you can feel confident and strong in a world that often challenges your serenity. Remember, you deserve a happy and fulfilling life free from the influence of negativity. Before we dive in, I have a small challenge for you. Watch this video to the end. If you are truly committed to cultivating calmness in your life and enhancing your personal growth, leave a comment saying, "I accept the challenge." Let's get started. Lesson 1. Identifying and understanding the toxic threat. Recognizing toxicity in others is the first and perhaps most crucial step in defending your inner peace. Toxic individuals can be deeply manipulative and draining, but they don't always reveal their destructive behaviors outright. They may come disguised as concerned friends or demanding colleagues, quietly undermining your self-esteem or pushing your boundaries until you're left feeling emotionally exhausted. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in Meditations that we have control over our minds, not outside events. The first application of this wisdom in the context of toxic relationships is becoming aware of the subtle ways in which others' negativity can invade our mental space. It's important to recognize the root of toxic behaviors, which often stem from fear, insecurity, or unresolved trauma in the individual exhibiting them. By understanding that their actions are not personal attacks, but a reflection of their internal struggles, we can detach emotionally, preserving our peace. Furthermore, empathy doesn't mean allowing mistreatment. While Stoicism and teachings like those of Jesus encourage us to see beyond hurtful behavior and respond with compassion, they do not ask us to be emotional martyrs. Understanding the motivations behind a toxic person's behavior can help you stay centered. However, it's critical to differentiate between practicing compassion and tolerating behavior that damages your well-being. A toxic colleague undermining your efforts is more likely projecting their own insecurities. Seeing this clearly is the first step in dismantling their influence over you. Lesson 2. Fortify your walls. Establishing strong emotional boundaries is essential to safeguarding your mental and emotional health. The ancient Stoics viewed the mind as a fortress, invulnerable to external assaults unless we allow them in. Just as a well-guarded fortress defends against invaders, you must create and maintain clear boundaries to prevent toxic individuals from encroaching on your peace of mind. Imagine your mental energy as a valuable resource, like light radiating from a lantern. Every interaction with negativity dims that light if not properly managed. This is why it's important to say no, without guilt, whether it's refusing to participate in toxic conversations, steering clear of destructive relationships, or avoiding emotionally draining situations. Saying no is a powerful tool for preserving your emotional energy. Boundaries are not about being unkind, they are about self-respect. By consistently reinforcing these boundaries, you create a strong defense against the psychological warfare that toxic individuals often wage. This might mean limiting your exposure to certain individuals or choosing to engage in conversations that steer clear of conflict. Reflect on whether you've been giving others too much control over your emotional landscape. If you find that you often feel anxious or drained after interacting with certain people, it's time to fortify those walls. Remember, your peace of mind is non-negotiable. Lesson 3. Become uninteresting to the emotional barbarian. Toxic people thrive on emotional reactions. When you respond to their provocations, you feed into their need for control or validation. A key Stoic tactic in handling such individuals is to cultivate indifference and become emotionally uninteresting to them. By mastering this art, you remove the fuel that keeps their fire burning. Consider someone at work who frequently makes sarcastic or undermining comments in an effort to push your buttons. If you react, whether through frustration, anger, or defensiveness, you're giving them exactly what they want, proof that they can manipulate your emotions. Instead, practice the Stoic art of apathy, a calm, dispassionate detachment. By remaining unaffected, you not only demonstrate your inner strength, but also show that their attempts to control your mood are futile. This approach aligns with Jesus' teaching. If someone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek. It's not about submission, but about demonstrating emotional resilience. When you respond with calm indifference, toxic individuals will eventually lose interest in trying to provoke you. Ask yourself, is my emotional reaction necessary often? The answer is no. Lesson 4, the broken record technique. The broken record technique is a simple yet highly effective strategy for maintaining your boundaries when dealing with persistent toxic individuals. The idea behind it is to remain steadfast in your response, much like a broken record stuck on repeat. By doing this, you refuse to be drawn into long-winded debates or manipulated into agreeing to things that infringe on your peace. Imagine someone pressuring you to take on additional responsibilities at work, responsibilities that you know will overwhelm you. Instead of getting caught in an argument or feeling the need to justify your refusal, simply repeat, "I am not available for this project right now." No explanations, no apologies. The beauty of this technique is in its simplicity, a calm, consistent response that leaves no room for manipulation. This is aligned with Jesus' words, "Let your yes be yes, and your no be no." Consistency is key. Toxic people will often attempt to wear you down with persistence, hoping to exploit any uncertainty. But with the broken record technique, you maintain control of the conversation by staying resolute in your position. Lesson 5, don't take the bait. Toxic individuals often thrive on conflict, relishing the opportunity to create tension and drama. Their tactics can range from subtle digs to overt provocations, all designed to elicit an emotional response. When you react emotionally, you hand over control, giving them exactly what they desire. A family member, for example, may repeatedly bring up past grievances during family gatherings. Their intent might not always be to resolve the conflict, but to reignite old arguments and drain your emotional energy. When you take the bait by engaging with anger or frustration, you lose control of the situation. Instead, take a step back, recognize their behavior for what it is, and choose not to engage. The Stoics teach us to focus on what we can control, our reactions. The next time someone tries to provoke you, remind yourself that your peace is more valuable than any argument. Choosing not to react in the heat of the moment is one of the most powerful forms of self-control. Reflect on past situations where you've allowed yourself to be baited, and ask yourself how things might have been different if you had remained calm and disengaged. Lesson 6, the art of non-reaction. Mastering the art of non-reaction is one of the most powerful skills you can develop in dealing with toxic individuals. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius believed that tranquility comes from within, and that true strength lies in our ability to remain calm in the face of provocation. Non-reaction is not about passivity, it's about exercising control over your emotions and refusing to be dragged into unnecessary conflicts. Consider the example of Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison, enduring profound injustice. Yet, instead of reacting with bitterness, he emerged as a symbol of reconciliation and peace. He chose non-reaction to hatred, and his calm resolve inspired millions around the world. His example illustrates that responding with anger only fuels negativity, while non-reaction creates space for understanding and healing. In your daily life, you may encounter a coworker who throws passive-aggressive comments your way during meetings. Instead of firing back or getting defensive, practice silence and composure. By doing so, you demonstrate that their words have no power over you. This approach also aligns with Jesus' teachings about turning the other cheek, not as an act of surrender, but as a profound display of emotional strength and control. Ask yourself, when was the last time I allowed myself to react impulsively? How could I have chosen non-reaction instead? Non-reaction doesn't mean ignoring every conflict, but it allows you to choose your battles wisely. You decide when to engage and when to remain composed, always preserving your inner peace. Lesson 7, limit your exposure. Limiting your exposure to toxic people is not about abandoning relationships entirely, but about consciously managing your interactions to protect your mental well-being. Toxic individuals can drain your emotional reserves and leave you feeling depleted, So it's important to assess which relationships are worth nurturing and which need healthy distance. Imagine you have a friend whose constant negativity leaves you feeling anxious or depressed after each interaction. If every conversation revolves around complaints, criticism, or gossip, you have to ask yourself, is this friendship enhancing my life or draining it? Limiting your time with such individuals is an act of self-care. You don't have to cut ties entirely, but you can reduce the time you spend with them, creating space for more positive influences in your life. Jesus often withdrew from the crowds to seek solitude and reconnect with his spiritual strength. In the same way, it's essential to step back from toxic environments to recharge and protect your mental health. Prioritize relationships that bring joy and upliftment into your life. Spend time with those who encourage your growth and make you feel valued. Limiting exposure also extends to digital interactions. In a world dominated by social media, where negativity is often amplified, consider creating your online presence to focus on content that inspires and uplifts. Reflect on how much time you dedicate to relationships that bring positivity versus those that leave you feeling emotionally drained. Your mental well-being should be your top priority. Lesson 8. Build your support system. In navigating toxic relationships, having a strong support system is crucial. Toxic individuals often isolate their targets, making you feel as though you're dealing with their behavior alone. But by surrounding yourself with positive, encouraging people, you can maintain perspective and receive valuable support during difficult times. A reliable support network could include friends, family, colleagues, or even mentors who understand you and share your values. When faced with toxicity, leaning on those who have your best interests at heart helps you stay grounded. Whether it's sharing your frustrations, seeking advice, or simply having someone to remind you of your worth, a supportive community is essential. This principle is also reinforced in the teachings of Jesus, who emphasized the importance of love, community, and fellowship. He surrounded himself with disciples and friends who supported and strengthened one another. In the same way, having a close circle of positive influences in your life can fortify you against the emotional toll of dealing with negativity. If you don't already have a strong support system, consider taking steps to build one. Seek out communities that share your values, whether through clubs, social groups, or online forums. The presence of people who truly care about your well-being is invaluable when you're navigating toxic relationships. Lesson 9. Prioritize self-care. When dealing with toxic individuals, prioritizing self-care becomes absolutely essential. Toxic people can consume your time, energy, and emotional bandwidth, leaving you feeling depleted. That's why it's so important to establish a routine of self-care that replenishes your spirit and restores your strength. Self-care isn't just about pampering yourself, it's about nourishing your body, mind, and soul so that you can face life's challenges with resilience. Meditation, journaling, or even taking a walk in nature can help clear your mind and bring you back to a state of inner peace. Physical activity, like yoga or exercise, can also relieve stress and recharge your body. Jesus himself demonstrated the importance of self-care. He often retreated to quiet places to pray and rejuvenate, showing us that even in the pursuit of compassion for others, we must also care for ourselves. If Jesus, who dedicated his life to service, saw the value in self-care, how much more should we make time for it in our daily lives? Reflect on your own self-care habits. Are you dedicating enough time to activities that nourish your well-being? Consider creating a self-care routine that includes regular moments of solitude, reflection, and relaxation. Self-care isn't a luxury, it's a necessity, especially when you're navigating emotionally taxing relationships. Lesson 10. Remember, it's not about you. One of the hardest but most liberating truths to embrace when dealing with toxic people is this: it's not about you. Toxic individuals often project their own insecurities, fears, and unresolved trauma onto others. When they lash out or criticize, it's often more a reflection of their inner turmoil than anything you've done. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that we cannot control the actions of others, only our responses to them. This is a powerful lesson when dealing with toxic people. If someone criticizes or mistreats you, instead of internalizing their words or trying to change their behavior, remind yourself that their actions are a manifestation of their own struggles. You are not responsible for their negativity. Jesus also modeled this understanding when he was persecuted, mocked, and even crucified. He did not take others' hatred personally, recognizing that their actions stemmed from ignorance and fear. Instead of retaliating, he chose forgiveness and compassion. This profound lesson teaches us to rise above the pettiness and bitterness of others and maintain our inner peace. The next time someone criticizes or disrespects you, take a deep breath and remind yourself, this is not about me. By detaching from the negativity, you free yourself from the emotional burden of their actions and preserve your mental well-being. Navigating relationships with toxic individuals can be challenging, but armed with these 13 strategies, you can cultivate inner peace and resilience. Remember, it's a journey, one that requires patience and self-awareness. By practicing Stoic wisdom and embodying the teachings of Jesus, you can protect your emotional well-being and find strength in the face of adversity. I invite you to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments below. Let's support each other on this path toward a healthier, happier life. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights into living your best life.